Hey friends, it's time for a new perspective on your low back pain. So, as a physical therapist for many years, I focused on just the body, looking at all the mechanical reasons why people had low back pain. I looked at flexibility of the hamstrings, the low back muscles. I looked at strength of the core. I looked at the ability of joints to move. I looked at the reason why the pathology in the spine may be a source of the pain. So mechanical pain does exist in the back, and you've probably treated it. You have a series of exercises that you have done, and they worked for a while, and then they stopped working, or you stopped doing them because you still felt pain. So I understand that. I understand that you didn't get 100% better by working with the body. And so the pendulum, for many years was swung to the body as the source of pain. I can see now that the pendulum is swinging to this side, that the brain and the mind is the source of pain. And so, meditation, journaling, other ways to understand the fluctuations of pain, those are all good reasons. But I don't think, and they're all good methods, and they can decrease the pain. And so, what I approach is that yes, you feel pain from the body, you feel some pain that is from the brain, sending that message down to the body. But there's a deeper reason. And so I continue to ask why. Why are you still experiencing pain? If you're consistent with an exercise program, why then do you have a spike or an increase of pain? If you're consistent with a meditation or a journaling program, maybe you also get counseling to understand more about the thoughts using some cognitive behavioral strategies to turn those negative thoughts into more positive ones and help reduce your pain. So you're doing all of that, but why do you still have pain? Well, I think it's a deeper issue. I think it's a deeper understanding. I think it's your spirit. I think that once you shed the layer of the body, once you get through some of the consciousness of the mind and the thoughts that we tap into the energy of the body and what we're feeling at any one point in time. I think it comes all the way down to your spirit. So much of these other things are just touching the surface. They're just touching the surface of why you experience persistent, lingering low back pain. So, tapping into the spirit, I'll just give you an example from my own personal life. So, tapping into my spirit, and when it's personal, it's sometimes difficult to talk about, but I keep coming back to this wounded small child, and I approach problems from this wounded, traumatized small child. I was adopted as an infant, but I was never nurtured and cared for by my biological mother. I was taken from my biological mother from the moment zero, and was in a nursery, I think, for like 18 days and cried. And so my first reaction into this world has been to cry, and I cried for the next at least 6 months of my life. My parents told me that I cried a lot as an infant until I was able to sort of, crawl and begin to really get people's attention about what I needed. I cried a lot. And so those first 6 months live deep inside me. They live in my spirit, and it comes out in so many of the ways that I present myself into this world. I hold tension and fear and um, anxiety because of that deep seated small child that was traumatized as an infant. And so, in recognizing that girl and accepting that I'm not that person now, I can overcome. But that has to come from deep within. That has to come from spirit. It has to come from some other source, that I can overcome those very early experiences. I don't need to continue to show up in the world from that small wounded child. But I also have to soothe and nurture that small wounded child in order to be able to show up. Still recognizing, but then nurturing and deciding to show up in a different way, the way that I was meant to show up in this world, bringing forward my own unique gifts into this world. So I think that pain sort of blankets over your spirit. And you have to find the ways in order to get into and underneath that blanket so that you can tap into your spirit. Once you find it and recognize it, then it pulls you out from underneath that blanket of pain, and you have a direction, you have a purpose, you know why you're here, and you can take those steps and move forward from that spiritual basis, rather than moving forward from your ego over and over and over again, because it's the ego that pushes us forward rather than allows us to flow and move forward. So I'm Stephanie Carter Kelly. I'm a physical therapist and opened up my practice, expanded my way of thinking about chronic pain, especially chronic low back pain, by using yoga. Not on here, but by using yoga. So yoga and physical therapy combined together as a way to go to a deeper understanding of why we have low back pain. So if you're interested in more about this practice, if this speaks to you in any way, you can follow the link in this post and get on the wait list for my masterclass, Freedom from Low Back Pain, where I describe more about this process and how I go about this process with my clients, to remove the layers, get to the depth, get to the true understanding and the source of low back pain. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.